Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Coming Out of the Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Shomont, and we got a big card on tap this weekend, a light heavyweight championship that we've been waiting for quite some time at UFC 313 in Las Vegas. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. This is a fight we've been waiting for quite some time. Overall, the card is from top to bottom and probably a C. It's not a stacked card, and even the main card maybe is a B minus at best. There was we had this co-main event that had Justin Gaethje on it against Dan Hooker. That Hooker fell off, and Rafael Fiziev has stepped up on short notice to take on Justin Gaethje in the co-main event. Overall, the card, the main card component, it's okay. It's not great, not bad, but it has the biggest fight that we've been waiting for, I believe, for quite some time. Short of John Jones and Tom Aspinall, which I think we're all clamoring for and so forth. But this fight's been a long time coming. Ankalaev has been calling for Pereira for quite some time. Pereira has been dominating the division. He has been knocking people out left and right ever since his first fight over Jan Blachowicz, where he won a split decision when he made his debut at light heavyweight. He jumped up to light heavyweight. It was a close fight. And he got the split decision win. And immediately thereafter had an opportunity to fight for a vacant championship in November of 2023 against Yuri Prochazka. He finishes Yuri Prochazka in round 2 of that fight to become the champion. Follows it up with a knockout of Jamal Hill in April of 2024. Then he gives Prochazka a rematch in June of 24. This is the year in which Alex Pereira was saving card after card after card for the UFC. And he knocks out Prochazka again in round 2 of that fight. And then he faces Khalil Rountree. And Khalil Rountree gave some work. Pereira, it was a struggle for Poatan in that fight. I mean, there was rumors that he had gotten ill or there's some issues the week of that fight and the week before that fight and almost pulled out of the fight. But he's a G and he doesn't pull out of fights like this. So he fights a tough Khalil Rountree and finishes that fight in round 4. And so here we are today against Ankalaev. Ankalaev's road has been a little bit bumpy across the way. He had an opportunity to win the belt for a vacant shot in December of 2022 against Jan Blachowicz. Ended up in a split draw. It was a very controversial decision because a lot of people thought Ankalaev won the fight. I personally thought that Blachowicz had won the first 3 rounds and ended up losing the last round 10-8. I had the fight a draw. So there's media members had it 23 out of 25 from what I read. Ringside saying that they had Ankalaev in the fight. Again, I gave the first rounds to Blachowicz in that fight, and then his gas tank hit E, and Ankalaev just took him down and dominated him on the ground. That said, once that happened, he put himself to the back of the line. He never got a rematch with Jan Blachowicz. He faces Johnny Walker, has a no contest for an illegal knee. It was like one thing led to another. And then he finally gets that rematch with Walker. He finishes him off in round 2 with a knockout, and then fights Alexander Rakic and wins a unanimous decision in October of 24, setting this fight up. So we're finally here. We are finally here. And now we are here at the point where is Alex Pereira going to clean up the division? Is it going to happen? Because this is the only fight left that truly matters, no matter what a fighter like maybe Jamal Hill might say, because he feels like he got screwed and has complained about that for quite some time. But end of the day, he got knocked out, and then Yuri Prochazka knocked him out also in round 3 of their fight. So, it is what it is. Jamal Hill's at the back of the line. He's facing Khalil Rountree coming up soon, which should make for a great fight. But if Pereira wins this fight, what's next for Alex Pereira? What's next for Poatan? Does he make that jump to heavyweight? I think this is the one fight that we've really been waiting for that we haven't gotten yet, short of the John Jones Tom Aspinall fight, which we're demanding, which I hope happens finally this summer. I mean, please God, let that fight happen. But this is the fight we've been waiting for. Magomed Ankalaev has gone on saying he's going to stand with Pereira. Man, please. If he stands with Alex Pereira, he's going to end up knocked the hell out. We're going to find out real fast if he has the balls to stand with Poatan or not. And I don't think he will do it. I think it'll be It would be career suicide to do something like that. He needs to go in for takedowns. He has to try to take Poatan down. Poatan has to stay on his feet. And that's the way it's going to be. He has to land them big shots, and he has to put Ankalaev out. I think if it turns into a wrestling match, it could be a problem for Poatan. I believe Poatan's going to win the fight via knockout, probably round 2. But we shall see. I think it's going to be a fun fight. The build-up's been quiet. I mean, this is one of the things that I've been missing with the UFC and the lack of promotion of some of these cards. Like, you have a monster championship fight card here, and you have not promoted it very, very well, in my opinion. I don't get it. I don't get why the promotion is not promoting these fighters. Like, they're not doing it, not to where they're making them mainstream. These fighters today in the UFC most of them are not mainstream fighters. You don't know them outside the UFC. If you're not a UFC MMA fan, you don't know who the hell Magomed Ankalaev is. There are only so many people that are like Sugar Sean O'Malley who can become crossover, and Conor McGregor who can become crossover. Even John Jones, somewhat crossover appeal to the rest of the world, where people know who he is. They know John Jones. You know what I mean? So this fight, I'm excited about it. It's been circled on my calendar. Now the rest of the card, Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. Let's see what happens here. They fought before. Gaethje won the fight. But what's going to happen here? I mean, is this going to be the end of Justin Gaethje? I don't know. He got his head knocked off by Max Holloway, which obviously was probably shocking for him. He's not getting any younger, and I would have loved to have seen that fight with Hooker. I think the fight with Hooker would have been a slobber knocker. I don't know what the hell they're doing in New Zealand in training that this man breaks his hand or whatever the hell happened a couple of weeks out from the fight. Gaethje is 36 years old. He's not getting any younger. Could this be his retirement fight? We shall see. I don't know. I tell you this, if Gaethje loses, I think it's a wrap. But if he wins, you know how these guys get. And Fiziev is a great opponent. He beat him a couple of years ago in a back and forth fight. It's gonna be a scrap. I mean, Fiziev has got balls. He got brass balls, man, to come in here on 2 weeks' notice for this fight. But if Gaethje was to win again, I wonder what he would do, if he would continue to fight or what. Because look, man, end of the day, this guy fights in wars, and you don't want to see. You like to see guys go out on a win. Obviously, most of the time that doesn't really happen. I don't think Gaethje is anywhere near a title shot. So, could this be it? If it is, it's been a hell of a ride for Justin Gaethje. If Fiziev wins, obviously that's a big thing for his career. The man is 15-3. He's dealt with some injuries and so forth. His last fight with Mateusz Gamrot, he hurt his knee, and that's how he lost the fight. The fight before that was the Gaethje fight. Prior to that, he had wins over RDA, Brad Riddell, Bobby Green, and Renato Moicano. So he's beaten some guys. I'm excited for this fight. I gotta pick Justin Gaethje simply, and he's the underdog. I gotta pick him. I mean, 2 weeks notice is tough, man. It's tough. I mean, the conditioning alone is big time. It's big time. So we shall see. I mean, then you have the fight before that is Jalen Turner, Ignacio Bahamondes. This is a pretty even fight. Turner's ranked 13th. Bahamondes is not ranked. Bahamondes is 16-5. Turner's 14-8. Turner's long. He's athletic. These guys are both 6'3", both long lightweights, man. 6'3", 155 pounds. I mean, that in itself is, can't even imagine being 155 pounds. But especially that damn tall. I like Bahamondes in this fight. I think Taylor makes mistakes, and he will leave himself open. And I think it ends with a Bahamondes finish. Prior to that, you have Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo, women's strawweight bout, 5 versus 7. Lucindo is a minus 135. Lemos is 14-4-1. Lucindo 17-5. Both Brazilians, obviously, 115 pounds. Basically the same size. Basically the same size. This is a matter of you have Lucindo, who's a much younger fighter. She's only 23 years old and already has 22 fights under her belt. She's coming off of 4 straight wins. Her last win was over Marina Rodriguez. It's a big win for her, whereas Lemos is coming off of losing 2 of her last 3. Obviously, there were big-time opponents. She lost to Zhang Wei Li. And then she beat Mackenzie Dern, but then lost to Virna Jandiroba. So this is her trying to get back in the winning column. I like Lucindo to win this fight and make it a 5-fight winning streak, and pretty much create the next contender at 115. I mean, this is definitely a division that needs contenders for Zhang Wei Li. You need contenders for her because right now she's got no one left to fight, man. She just finished whooping the shit out of Tatiana Suarez. And I know there's been talk about potentially having her fight against Valentina Shevchenko at 125. But I mean, I'm so tired of these I'm tired of people jumping up in weight and then getting an automatic title shot. I've never been down for that. I don't like it. I mean, I understand why they do it, but I'm not a fan of it simply because you have to earn it at that division. If you didn't beat someone at that division, I think at least first you go in, you fight someone in the top 5. If you get that win, then we can talk about a title shot. But if you lose that first fight, why should you get a title shot? I don't think you should, just because you're a champion in a different division, that you should go up and wait and get a championship title shot. For example, remember this. Rose Namajunas has beaten Zhang Wei Li twice. And she's now fighting at 125. So wouldn't you say fight Rose first, see if you can get past her at 25? And Rose has not been unbeatable at 25. It's been a tough sledding for her. She's been good and bad, hit and miss, because they're just bigger. So I think it's important to create, competition at the division and create new contenders. And every day there'll be a new contender as long as you push them the right direction. And I think Lucindo, with a win, becomes that next person in line for a title shot. So I like Lucindo. And then leading off the night is King Green against Mauricio Hufi. The Hufi is one of the fighting nerds or whatever they call themselves. Tough dude. Yeah. Green is a gatekeeper for the next level, and you always know Green is always going to fight. He's going to bring it. On some days he's good, on some days he's great, and on some days he's just not good at all. This is a big fight for Hufi. He needs this win because if he wants to get to that next level, he has to beat a guy like King Green, without a doubt. He's 11-1. He's coming off of a win over Lontop, and before that, Malarkey. He has to have a performance. He needs to perform. I think this is more than just getting a W. I think people have to get this thought of, we just need a W. You need to win convincingly if you want people to take you as seriously as a potential guy to watch out for. Formerly Bobby Green, King Green. He lost his last fight to Paddy Pimblett, rather dominating loss. He beat Jim Miller. Had the fight against Jalen Turner. I believe Turner won that fight, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure Turner won that fight, if I'm not mistaken. UFC website's not always up to date. I know it's been 2 years, so I was like, I can't remember every damn fight that happened, but I'm pretty sure Turner won that fight. Let me make sure. Yeah, Turner won that fight. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it's gonna be a big fight for Hufi. He needs to get the win. He needs to do it impressively. I like him to win that fight. On the prelims, you got Curtis Blades fighting Rizan Kunivev, Joshua Van, Ray Soruya, Bruno Ferreira, Armin Petrosian, Alex Morono, Carlos Leal. Early prelims are Myron Santos, Francis Marshall, Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda, and Jordan Santos and Ozzy Diaz. I mean, a lot of these guys are lesser known guys, and obviously trying to make a name for themselves. They're on a pay-per-view card. They're on the box. They're on the prelims. I'm looking forward to that title fight. Just be real. That's the fight that I'm looking forward to. I've been waiting for it for probably a couple years now. Since Pereira run, that's been the fight that I really want to see because that's the one guy stylistically that can cause him a headache. That said, we shall see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. We're dropping more and more Combat Corner information, combat news. We do have some BKFC stuff coming up, so be on the lookout for that. I appreciate y'all. Hit that bell, subscribe. You know the deal. Leave a comment. This is Combat Corner. All right, come on now, the podcast. Let's go. Come on now.